Man, I really gotta get better at this whole lighting thing. I recorded this video 2 days ago, and I watched it back. It was so dark, you couldn't see anything. I was like, okay, why did I even record this? Today I'm going to talk to you about my wedding, and I'm also going to clean my kitchen, because I know that my whole shtick was going to be like, oh, I'm a mom, and so I'm doing self-care while I make my YouTube videos, but sometimes self-care is just getting your kitchen into a functioning state. And also, finishing the Chipotle that you didn't get to finish for dinner because your kids had, like, simultaneous meltdowns. Like, so wild. My son was having just a rough day in general. He's 9 months old. And he's just, I don't know if he's teething or what. My husband was texting me about it earlier today, just saying, like, he's in bad, like, rough shape. He's just not having a good day. He just, like, wanted to be held, but then didn't want to be held. And I was trying to eat my Chipotle. My husband had already eaten his Chipotle. I put my son on the ground, and he's just kind of crawling around doing his thing. He's fine now. Gave him a pacifier. He was fine. And then my daughter, she had this, like, milk, like, she had this milk thing, and it had it had a straw in it. She, like, pulled the straw out, and she tipped it upside down, and, like, it just poured everywhere onto our couch. So I was like, okay. So I had my husband take my daughter. I cleaned up the couch because because my food was out on the table, so I didn't want her getting my food. So it was like a whole thing because she's fast. She's lightning fast. She's a toddler. She's 2, almost 2.5. Like, she's fast. So I'm like, you hold her. Do not let her come get my food. I'm going to clean this up really quick. It shouldn't take too long. It didn't. But while I was cleaning that up, my son had a complete blowout. I mean, just a crazy, he hadn't had one in a really long time, and this one was not a good one. This was a bad blowout. So get that all cleaned up, take my son upstairs. It was bath night anyway, so I was like, fine, you know what? We're just going to do an early bath night for you because you are in rare form, my guy. Just super rare form. And so we'll just do bath night really easy. Really quick, really fast, really early, no big deal. Do bath night with him, wasn't too bad. It was gross, but it wasn't too bad. And then I come downstairs, and my husband, I mean, he's a stay-at-home dad, so he's been with these kids all day, and I was at work, and he was just kind of like, he was ready to tap out. So I was like, you know what? I'll take our daughter, because she had also just gone to the bathroom. I was like, I'll take her upstairs, I'll change her diaper, and then I'll give her a bath early too. Get that taken care of. Got her changed and ready and like bathed and ready for bed and stuff early, and then came back downstairs, finished feeding her, finished feeding him. Now the thing with my son is typically he has like a sippy cup that he holds, and it's a straw, and that's how he drinks his milk, but he makes a huge mess whenever he does this. I mean, this kid is the messiest kid I've ever seen. And so I was like, I don't really want him to do that, so I need to, like, bottle feed him so that he doesn't make a huge mess, since he just had a bath and was just changed into his pajamas. Long story short, that is why I didn't get to eat my dinner. So I'm gonna heat it up. Coca-Cola, sponsor me. My kitchen always feels like it's a disaster, but it's not. It's just small. And I know that from here, from this angle, it looks big, but it's not big. It's just, like, awkward. I basically have one counter that's usable, and so it makes the kitchen get dirty, like, very, very quickly. Like, it's just not very functional, and it drives me crazy. Anyway, I'm supposed to be telling you about my wedding. So, I got married in April of 2020, 5 weeks into the COVID lockdown. So my husband and I used to work together, like, literally across the hall from each other. I remember reading an article that morning about Italy and how crazy everything was going on in Italy and how the country was, like, shutting down. And I was like, wow, that's really insane. Like, this is really serious. And then by, like, 1 o'clock, we had gotten a staff-wide email that was like, you all need to go home. So we went home. We were watching the news every day because we were getting married in 5 weeks. And so we didn't know if we were going to be able to have our wedding. And remember at the time, it was like, oh, it's only 2 weeks, guys. We're only locking down for 2 weeks. Yeah, okay. So naturally, we were watching the news and we ended up uninviting basically everybody from our wedding. We put out a Facebook post, we made a bunch of phone calls and text messages and just let everyone know, like, hey, we are still getting married. We will stream it on Facebook so that you can still partake in the day if you would like to watch. But it's important to us that we don't postpone our marriage, which I don't regret for a single second. We just really, for us, like the wedding itself was secondary to the marriage. It was a bummer that we had to cancel everything that we had planned, but it was also kind of like it really worked out for the best for the two of us. We called all of our bridal party. We said, hey, like, we're still going to get married. The church is still willing to work with us and let us use the venue. The pastor still, actually I had to switch pastors. At the time I wasn't Catholic, and my husband was not really practicing any, he was Christian, but like not practicing anything. And so he wasn't Catholic either. So we decided to get married in my home church that I grew up in with my like pastor that I was raised going to church with. She's a very nice woman, but she was older and her health was not in good condition. And so she was supposed to marry us. She did like our marriage counseling and all that. She called me and was like, she was really uncomfortable. Like, don't worry about it. You need to stay healthy. So then another pastor from the church, who I still knew very well, and I was happy to have her marry us, she married us, which was nice. So the church was willing to work with us on that, but we told all of our bridal party, we're still getting married, but don't worry about it. Like, if you are uncomfortable or you're worried about your health or someone that you are close with, like, you know, spreading it or whatever, like, just tell us that you are nervous and anxious about it. There's no expectations here. We understand that this is unprecedented times. Everyone said that. So I did have a bridesmaid drop out because of her, I believe it's her grandfather's health. She was worried about spreading it to her grandfather, which I was like, yeah, absolutely. No worries. No questions asked. You do you. And then he had a groomsman drop out because of his own personal health issues. He had some kidney problems. Again, no questions asked. This is crazy. This is crazy that we're living in this kind of world, but like, we will not fault you for a single second. So the day before our wedding, so I think I had 4 bridesmaids. He had 4 groomsmen who attended. His parents went, my dad went, my grandpa went. He had an N95 mask, which I don't know if any of you remember, but at this point in the pandemic, you couldn't get, what's it called, PPE? You couldn't get masks or gloves or like hand sanitizer. Like, that stuff was really hard to come by. And they actually didn't want you to come by it because they needed the hospitals and stuff. The medical profession needed them. But my grandpa was like in his, I think he was 95. And I told him he didn't have to come. But he was more than happy to. And we social distanced him from everyone. And he had an N95 mask. It was really special to have him. I was really, really grateful. But so he came, and then I had one aunt and uncle who insisted on coming, who lived nearby. That's important, and you'll understand in a second. And my husband had one aunt and uncle who insisted on coming, who lived nearby. And that was it. So it was our bridal party, his parents, my dad and grandpa, and we each had one set of aunt and uncle. And then I had one additional friend who helped us live stream it. So kudos to him. Major shout out. We live streamed on Facebook our wedding. And then one of our groomsmen hosted just the bridal party at his house afterwards. But it was just a very small, like, it wasn't a reception. It was just like a, listen, come hang out. I've got cupcakes. And we were like, thanks. Oh, I forgot to tell you. So the night before, I had uninvited my mother. Now, I was on a long road to no contact with her anyway, and I was pretty much, like, mostly at that point. But I uninvited her because of the pandemic. She was invited, and then the pandemic happened, and I told her, I don't think you should come, because she lived in a different state. So she would have had to get on a plane, probably. She could have, I don't think she had a car at this point, so I think she had to fly on a plane to come to the wedding. And I was like, no. First of all, for our safety, for your safety, no. So I'm uninviting you. The night before my wedding, she called my dad, and I was standing right next to him when this happened. It was insane. She called my dad, and she was like, Is she trapped in the marriage? Is she trapped in the relationship? Do we need to help her? Like, no, ma'am. I know you don't like him, but no. I am very, very, very happily willing to do this. I'm not trapped, okay? I'm happier than I've ever been, actually. And that really sealed the deal on the no contact thing. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is so crazy. So that happened. And then the morning of my wedding, you would think that there wouldn't be so much drama considering like it was pretty much basically canceled, but no, there was still drama. The morning of my wedding, one of my bridesmaids, I couldn't get a hold of her. I had texted her the whole bridal party 2 days before and everyone had responded but her. And I was like, okay, like whatever. She's not a great texter. She's usually kind of flaky. It's fine. She'll be there. Like, it's my wedding day. She said she would be there. She's never been that flaky. She'll be there. I call her and text her the morning of. Don't hear from her. My maid of honor, who was also really good friends with her, calls her and texts her the morning of. Can't get a hold of her. We cannot get a hold of her. So I'm at that point, I'm like, I think she's dead. Like, I think she's very, very ill. Like, again, this is during the pandemic, so anything could have happened. So I'm like, we have to find out if she's alive. Like, we have to make sure she's okay. And like, if she's not okay, we need to be there for her. We need to figure this out. So I end up calling a mutual friend of ours, and I'm like, hi, she's supposed to be in my wedding today, and I can't get a hold of her, and neither can my maid of honor. And I'm like scared for her because it's the pandemic and crazy things are happening, and I just want to know that she's alive. And my mutual friend was like, absolutely, I will try to get a hold of her. I will try to find out. She calls her, gets a hold of her. My bridesmaid still never contacts me, doesn't call me or text me, still doesn't. I get a call back from our mutual friend. She goes, hey, like, I'm so sorry, she's not coming. And I'm like, is she okay? Is she sick? Is she going to the hospital? Like, what's going on? No, none of that. She's physically fine. She had her own engagement that had been broken off like 6 months prior, and she just couldn't handle the emotional whatever of the day. But didn't talk to me about it. Didn't once bring it up to me. Said, guaranteed me that she was going to be there, and then just ghosted me. So that was really fun. That was a really great way to start my wedding day. I ended up putting my now brother-in-law's, at the time girlfriend, but now wife. So now my sister-in-law, but at the time they had only freshly been dating for like a little bit. So she wasn't in my wedding because I didn't know her that well. But I was like, hey, my bridesmaids just dropped out and I have an uneven number. Do you want to walk with one of the groomsmen? And she was like, yeah. So it's really funny. I ended up accidentally putting my future sister-in-law in my wedding. We had a really gorgeous wedding, I thought. And then we did our first dance in the lobby of the church because we didn't have a reception until like a year and a half later. And then that was it. That was my wedding. It was actually really nice because neither one of us are like huge on being the center of attention. But I just think that if we did do a traditional, like what we had planned, we would have been so anxious and so stressed about it. So it kind of like really super duper worked out. We replanned our reception and then still ended up pushing it back. So we didn't end up having our reception until like a year and a half later. And then we didn't end up going on like a honeymoon until like a couple weeks after that. I mean, it was still good though. We spent our first year as a married couple in quarantine together, which we actually loved. We've come to realize that we like to spend a majority of our time together, and I think that we're very fortunate in that way, because anytime I talk to a real life married person, or like I see a TikTok or something, probably 75% of the time the married couple is talking about like how they don't want to spend that much time together. And I'm like, why? Don't you like them? My husband is super introverted, and even he wants to spend a majority of his time with me. I mean, I respect like alone time. That's fine. We both, if we need it, we need it. But like, we don't like spending time apart from each other. So actually, we just loved quarantine. It was a great time. We just celebrated our 5th anniversary, which is crazy. So crazy. When they say time flies, Oh my gosh, they are not kidding. Especially after you have kids. It's crazy, 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 crazy. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to finish my dinner. I'm going to pick one of my many interests to probably do. I'm going to try my really hardest not to doom scroll TikTok. But fun fact, you can find me on TikTok. I post on TikTok every day. I post on YouTube Shorts every day. I post on Instagram every day. I'm on Facebook. You can find me places. So don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell thing to remind you when I'm posting. I make new videos like this every Sunday. I will see you next time. Okay. Oh my goodness. Can I put every single light in my house in the shot for you? My goodness. I wonder if I can turn that off. Oh, you know what? That's nicer for you. It's nicer for me. I think it's nicer for you. I think you're not being blinded by this light anymore.